Hi, my name is Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation. And this topic, how do I stop getting angry at my wife, is very dear to my heart personally. In the 90s, and this is 10 years before I started helping couples, I had an anger problem that was so bad that when I decided I would get rid of my anger, that was 1996 or 95, it came on, and you know what I'm talking about, and it was so intense, and I kept saying, get out of my head. I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to be angry. I tried stuffing it, and it just was overwhelming. I found myself on the floor in fetal position. I was clutching myself. Finally, after 15 or 20 minutes, I was perspiring like crazy. I was sweating bullets. And I got up and I called some friends. I said, pray for me. Click. And I called 3 or 4 of them and it subsided. And I don't know if that helped or not, but I needed to do something. Then I started the Marriage Foundation. But before then, in like 2001, I started helping couples. I was a divorce mediator. And I used to help people get a divorce. And couple wanted me to help them with their marriage. I was an expert in communication, doing all kinds of work, consulting work for companies, and I thought, okay, let me try this. I didn't know much about marriage at that time. I only knew how to divorce people. And if you're getting angry at your wife all the time, you know you're heading towards one. So I kind of came about it in an indirect fashion. What happened was, when I started working with this couple, I came up with a simple understanding of marriage. You got to start somewhere, right? And I have no faith at all in Western psychology. I think the whole thing's a bunch of junk. So I was going to use another word. So what I did was I broke marriage down to why do we get married in the first place? And the answer to that is pretty simple, even though no one ever thinks about it. In fact, when I was working with couples, I would always say, okay, you tell me why you got married, and then I'll tell you why you got married. And if your answer is better than mine, I won't charge you. I mean, you could be the judge. I won't charge you for the session, $300 a pop. So they were motivated. Over 200 individuals, only 2 came up with the universal reason for marriage, which is happiness. It's so obvious. And there's another one, love. As human beings, we're not advanced animals, we're human beings. We have an innate need to reconnect our souls. Why do you think we call our wives soulmate? And so we need love, we need happiness, we have free will. I thought, okay, simple. I laid out a binary system. Still use it, but it's not the predominant system in our courses. Whenever something comes up, choose to do something that will create love and happiness. Avoid those things that go the other way. Pretty simple, right? So I worked with this first couple. Yeah. They were thrilled. So simple, so simple. But the guy comes back a few weeks later. Paul, your stuff is amazing. It's simple. Everyone knows it's simple because it's binary, 2 choices. But I still can't do it. I can't do what's right. My old habits kick in. I said, let me think this through. And I'll be candid with you, I've been doing meditation and yoga since 1972. So I understood I'm a soul. I have felt that joy, that presence of God. But now we were faced with something else. We were faced with, I went along with everyone else. It's really hard to control your habits. So I had to dig deep. I had to discover what habits actually are, what anger actually is. And I'm not going to get into some metaphysical thing and go, it's an outside agent who comes in and attacks you, but you can see it that way because it's not really part of us. Anger is this weird thing. Now, there's a simple formula for anger. When you don't get your way, you become angry, and it goes back to the drive to survive. We are guided almost completely by our drive to survive, because the body's telling the mind what to do instead of you, the soul, telling your mind what to do. So the drive to survive is responsible for so many problems. What do? Well, I know anger management is a bunch of crap. Doesn't work. You can't manage anger. It's like managing a rattlesnake. I see anger as this entity that comes out, again, when you don't get your way, but it's an instinctive. It's at a very deep level in the mind to where we call it instinctive. And once it gets going, the laws of momentum pick up and you can't stop it. So this whole thing is not a sales pitch. But I created the SO technique, which is included in the courses for men, which is effective. So the SO technique is S for stop, E for evaluate, and W for use wisdom to make your next choice. It's simple. I love simple, don't you? But in order for it to work, I discovered I had to start falling back on the same training that airline pilots and fighter pilots use, which is learning how the mind works, learning the correlation between body, mind, and soul. That stuff has to be fully understood, and then repetition, repetition, repetition. And then it works. Now, I wish I had a video that basically said, here's what you do. You just won't have any anger anymore. And I swear to you, if it were that simple, it would exist. I would produce it. This is a nonprofit, the Marriage Foundation. But it's not that simple. It's a whole combination of things when you put it together, and that's why it's got to be done through the course. Now, it's exposed plenty in my books, both of them, Breaking the Cycle and Lessons for Happy Marriage, but it doesn't get into it. If you've got a serious anger problem, just do it. Just break out the wallet, get the course for men, and I promise you this, you won't have an anger problem anymore. It's well worth it. But it happens to go along with all the other things you're going to learn about marriage. And the goals for marriage, to me, are the promises of marriage, which are happiness, ever-increasing happiness, and love, ever-expanding love. So we started the foundation. It was actually at the behest of a fellow divorce mediator. He said, Paul, you got to get this stuff out. I don't think he's even around anymore. He was a Navy SEAL during the Vietnam era. But he saw the value of presenting these things to the world. And I hope you do too. Now look, you're going to learn a lot about marriage by subscribing to the channel. I hope you already have. But if not, do it now. Like the video, leave a comment, and learn about marriage. But this anger thing, it's tough. And I hope you don't think I'm just trying to sell you something. I'm not. I'm trying to get you to understand it's got to be approached this way if you want to conquer anger. Thank you. Take care. God bless. See you next time.